Hey, Chuck. Good morning. How are you?
Good, Jim. How are you, man?
Good. Hey, it's been a week. A lot of stuff going on. And as we try to thaw out down here, it's finally the snow's gone, but the ice is out. I tried to put trash in my trash can last night. I had to wade through a little bit of ice. I thought I'm going to do a whole, trip and fall and slide across the driveway move and land in a triple sow cow and judge will love it, right? Hey, so have you heard about the Melania movie?
Heard it's not being received very well,
Yeah.
or
So
being watched, I should say.
It's interesting. Well, does anyone really want to see what the first lady has to say? I mean, she's about as cold as a dead fish, right? So
Yes.
she's had single digit sales in all the theaters in the UK. Single digit for that.
Oh, yeah.
Sale. That means less than 10. That is really funny because I think Bezos is being taken to the cleaners on this. And with the
Well
28 million she pocketed.
and can we be honest? This is absolutely payoff. I mean, if everything you read says that any Hollywood industry insider is like, you make a movie to make money, and most documentaries cost between 500 and $750,000 to make. And this one's, whatever it is, she's pocketing like 47 million. It's
28 million went right into her pocket. So she made money.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously Bezos buying influence, and geez, what would billionaires do if they didn't buy influence?
All right, look, we spent plenty of time talking about passports, exotic places, and the best to get lost.
Mostly because Jim actually got us lost half the time.
Hey, it's called unplanned exploration. But look, eventually every traveler has to hit the baggage claim. And that's usually where the fun ends and reality hits you smack in the face.
I'm Chuck Longerbeam.
And I'm Jim Hauck. We're both staring 60 in the face, and we've realized that the most important journey isn't across the ocean. It's the one where you finally stop worrying about who you're offending and start speaking your truth.
We're unpacking more than just suitcases now. We're talking about the big pivots, reinventing your life and your career at an age when society thinks we should just be quiet and pick up pickleball.
Not happening, Chuck. And we're going to talk about this country. But we're done with this left versus right, blue versus red food fights. It's exhausting. We're going to talk about right versus wrong.
Basically, we're applying common sense to a world that seems to have run out of it. We're keeping it authentic, unfiltered, and knowing us, probably a little bit loud.
Hey, we're two guys who have seen enough to have an opinion, and we're finally sharing it. No filters, no labels, just real talk.
The bags are on the carousel, and let's be honest, half of them are probably lost. Are you ready to claim what's yours?
Let's get this journey started. Yes, I agree. And so South Africa pulled the film, which I'm not that I understand it, but South Africa pulled it. And there's the odds on the street are 73% that you'll get a 20% or less favorable rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is hilarious. She will end up being the worst of all time documentary.
Yes. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a hot mic moment on the red carpet where someone in the Trump administration was standing behind the camera, waxing philosophic about who didn't show up, and naming Kellyanne Conway and this person and that person. And the one they named was Bezos and his wife. And if you know anything about Jeff Bezos and his wife, they never met a red carpet that they love.
Yeah,
And so he pays $60 million or whatever it was for this, and then another 35 million, I think, for marketing, and then doesn't show up. That should tell you that something is not clicking in Trump billionaire world. And I think
well, it was interesting.
what it could be, Jim, could it possibly be the fact his polls numbers are tanking across everything?
No.
Especially it's interesting, a lot of presidents after their first year, their polls go like this. A lot of presidents do. But what's interesting is he's tanking big time, or bigly, as he would say, in the two things that he ran on most, which were immigration and the economy. And he just did that comeback tour in, I think it was Iowa, and was telling everybody how great the economy was, and we've gotten rid of inflation and this and that and the other thing. And people in Iowa on the ground are like, wait a minute, I can't afford groceries. What are you talking about? Like, I can't afford heating oil, or I can't afford heat. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I also hear that a lot of the crew who helped film the film asked not to be named
I take their name off
and
of
not
it.
in the credits. If you think about that, right, just put that into perspective. That's like you put your career into a field. You want to be a movie producer. You want to be you want to work on a set. Those are things that are important to your CV, right? People are saying it's not that important for me to have this on my list, or I don't want it on my list.
Well, yeah, right. You're 100% correct. And take that a step further. You're in the movie industry and you want to build your career and you want your name on things. You're talking about a documentary made about the sitting first lady, and you're like, nah, I'm good. In any other time, even if it wasn't super popular, in any other time, that would be a great thing to put on your
Yeah,
resume.
Barbara Bush would be a fun one to watch, right? Linda Bush
Right.
would be a fun one.
Or-
Michelle Obama would be fun. Nancy Reagan was a hoot, right?
Say it. Hillary Clinton. It would be controversial as hell, but what do they say? No such thing as bad press. If I'm on the Hillary Clinton documentary while she and Bill are in the White House, you damn right I want my name on that. If for nothing else, for notoriety and recognition. But
This is
the
not the
Melania, they're
notoriety
like,
you want, though.
not so much. Take my name off of
The
this.
benevolent leader's wife will not probably get much fame out of this, and then to
No.
smear more of their name and expose more of the things that are going on. It has shown up that she is in the States on what's called an Einstein visa. Have you heard of this before?
I have not.
So an Einstein visa is awarded to somebody who has unique and special gifts they bring, such as being a Nobel Peace Prize winner, or a laureate, or that's how she got her visa to be with Trump.
How are you going to set me up like that? There's so many things I want to say right now. Well, it's so, I think I said this last week and I read it. And again, I'm going to give credit honestly to whoever said it because it wasn't me and I can't remember who. So if you're out there and you wrote it, then take the credit. I'm saying I didn't say this, but they're just saying that the whole magosphere is beyond hypocrisy. Like that doesn't exist for them anymore. And it's just, Trump is pushing to get rid of birthright citizenship and, big immigration push. And we can't have these people coming here illegally and everything and blah, 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 blah. She came on a work visa for modeling. She hooked up with Donald Trump. She gets an Einstein visa. Thank you for telling me. I did not realize that thing existed.
Became President Delane.
Well, we'll get to that.
Hey, Duck, what do you think? Let's get this episode started. I think we're ready.
Slow your roll, Jim. Slow your roll. We're gonna get there. But then the other thing is he screamed in his first administration, not so much this one, but he screamed and cried about chain migration. We can't have that. Well, her parents are here on chain migration visa. They were given citizenship just because their daughter is the first lady, and but again, like I said, they're beyond hypocrisy. I don't even think they see it anymore. They're like, if I can do it, great. But if you do it, you need to be prosecuted.
And with that, we're on a roll. Welcome to Learn the Nice Time. Chuck, I'll tell you, this is always fun to get together. I can't wait for today's roast.
So you brought it up. Let's segue into it. Yesterday, the Department of Justice dropped, was it 3 million pieces of information about the Epstein files? Still not everything from what we understand, but
no, but some really good juicy morsels they probably didn't want us to know.
Oh, well, did you see the one where there was the FBI had been given a someone had given them a tip or information about Donald Trump raping, I think she was 13 or 14 in 1990. I'm going to get this wrong. 92, 94, back in the day, but it like never went anywhere. That's horrible. It's heinous. That's not what piqued everybody's interest. What piqued everybody's interest was that dropped, and less than 30 minutes later, it had been scrubbed from the website. Now, why would that be, Jim?
I don't know, but I do find it interesting, as even with Alex Preddy's case, people are starting to download these things and put them in their own collections of information when they see them, because our benevolent leader and the extreme secret police are out there clearing things when they realize they're dangerous, right? So if the benevolent leader's wife happens to be mentioned, which she is, and really good friends with Delane, and then she met Trump through him, potentially. Well, what I hated was when I heard that Trump was the one who tested them out to make sure their vaginas were big enough. I was like,
okay. Had not read that part. Well, and there's a rumor out there, and I don't know if it's I don't know if it's substantiated. There's a rumor that the first time Donald Trump and Melania had sex was on Epstein's plane. Now, I don't know if that's true. I mean, I've heard it several places. It's not some weird Substack. I've heard it several places. Again, no clue if it's true. It wouldn't shock me. And here's what I mean by that. Now, I don't mean that I don't mean that in a callous way, but it's so funny because we finally got. It's like with the email that Melania sent to Ghislaine Maxwell. It's like we finally got proof of something we already fucking knew. And what I mean by that is, you and I have talked about this. I don't write left, whatever you are, Trump supporter, not supporter, I don't care what anybody says. If you are best friends with somebody for 10 or 15 years, you would know if they were up to some wild shit. Now, obviously, Jim and I could be friends forever, and there are deep, dark secrets that of mine that he'll never know, and vice versa. There's things you just don't tell.
Yeah, I'm an open book, Chuck. You know that.
Well, that's true. Okay. But you get my meat. There's some things you'll never know. But I own a plane and I own an island and I'm an international trafficker of young girls. And my girlfriend, confidant, whatever the hell, I'm not trying to be funny, whatever he called Ghislaine Maxwell is my front, and and she brings me girls. And we're running in parties and
And
Elon
boys. And boys.
and boys, yeah, and all of that. And you're going to tell me that you were best buddies and hanging out at parties and social events and everything else for 15 years, I think. And you had no inkling? That's bullshit, because the who's who whispered about this for years before it came out. So I don't believe for a minute that you and I could spend all that time
That's
together.
the well-kept secret in the world.
Right. I'll give you an example. If you and I are friends and, Jim has a porn addiction and you keep it to yourself and I don't know, no, I'm saying I could see you and I being friends forever and me not knowing that, unless I happen to, walk into your house one day while you're viewing it. That's something you could hide from somebody. But and I use this word honestly, with the network that he had between the plane and the island and everything else, there's no way Donald Trump can say he didn't know. Now, again, no evidence he participated in anything or no credible evidence, but I'm sorry, knowing and not saying anything is complicity. And to me, that's just as guilty.
As we get more, this Epstein files thing isn't going away soon, and it's never going to probably go away because we're not going to know the whole truth, just like Marilyn Monroe and other things. Right? Our kids will know because they'll be filing freedom of information to get to it. But I would say that the big fear with everyone is that this is not, Epstein files isn't right or left, Democrat, Republican. It is politician days. It is power. And when you start to find out the people in your world that you have seen as your leaders, your compasses, your moral authorities are exploiting young women and young men in pedo activities and rape and incest and whatever else, you got to ask yourself, WTF, what do you believe in? What the fuck is going on? Something's wrong that we would allow this to happen. Now, some people just turn a blind eye, and I understand that. My grandmothers and their grandmothers, they would look and say, "Oh, that's precious," and move on, right? It's like that can't be true.
Well, and you brought up an interesting point. And I've said this before, and it just drives me insane that we're talking about. You're right. We're talking about the abuse of children. Let's just synthesize it down as the abuse of children. And I know people who consider themselves on the right, MAGA, whatever you want to call it, who will look me straight in the face and say, all these Democrats were doing this. And I'm like, just hold on a minute and back up. If you will, take politics out of it for a moment and just look at human nature. You truly believe only one political party is doing this. That's it. What are the chances of only Democrats doing anything and no Republican doing it? There are 300 million people in this country, and you're telling. And what I mean by that is, and the other thing that drives me crazy is they're still making excuses. Well, there's no evidence. There's no evidence. Agreed. But you'll vilify Democrats when there's no evidence. But you'll keep defending Donald Trump, and who has been convicted of rape and E. Jean Carroll and all that kind of stuff, and admitted to grabbing women by the genitalia because he wanted to and he could. But the other part of that is, I don't know a single Democrat, a single progressive, a single liberal, call it whatever you want, who's not saying, open up the Epstein files, and I don't give a shit whose name is in there. If they're found guilty of something, put them in jail for the rest of their damn life. But the right won't do that. Some will, but
they're pushing hard to have the Clintons indicted, right? It's sort of like he wants to have Obama indicted because, of course, he has a feud with Obama. He wants both of them out of the picture.
Oh, I know, but so here's the thing: you want Bill Clinton to testify? Great, his name's all over it. He and Epstein were buddies, absolutely.
He hasn't denied it.
Well, I love what he's like or not like Bill Clinton. I love the fact that he's like, yeah, I'll come in and talk to Congress once you guys release everything that you were supposed to release. And I think that's brilliant. It's like, you're not going to call me in when you haven't even done what you're supposed to legally do. But be that as it may, if Bill Clinton is found guilty of abusing a child, I don't care that he's old and he's former president. Put his ass in jail for the rest of his life. And I feel that way about any human being, regardless of their political affiliation. But the right is just so unwilling to say, I've never heard anybody, I mean, they'll sort of say it in a begrudging way if you paint him into a corner. I've never heard anybody, none of the pundits or anybody say, well, if Donald Trump's guilty of raping a child, he should go to prison. They won't even say it. They're like, well, if he's guilty, then, well, he should be, we should know it. And it's like, no, that's not the way it works.
Well, I mean, that's the challenge with this is I believe if you get all the information, you are now compelled to bring people into custody during an investigation so they can't flee, right?
Well,
Under most cases, if you've got a suspect who's done something, who you believe he's a criminal, you pull them in, he or she, you start questioning, and then you put them into custody until you have an investigation done with all the facts, and you can make a determination whether there's going to be charges pressed.
in a perfect usual world, you are 100% correct. My concern, and I think the concern of a
That's
lot,
the rule of law we work under, supposedly.
well, and I agree, but I think what worries a lot of people, myself included, and I think I speak for you, please tell me if I'm wrong, is that in a perfect world, that's the way it would work. But the DOJ right now is so weaponized, openly weaponized. Do we believe for a minute that high-ranking Republicans or friends of Donald Trump would actually be pulled in? I guarantee you any Democrat would be, but no Republican would be. No friend of Donald Trump's would be. And that's what's upsetting me the most. And I think that's what upsets most people deep down about Minnesota, troops in LA and all that, is that there is, I mean, like Tim Walz came out, and I don't give a damn if you like Tim Walz or not. Listen to what he said. He's like, we're like 18th in the country for number of immigrants. Like Florida and Texas are number one for per capita immigrant, illegal, whatever you want to call them, illegal immigrants. Why are you not there? We know why. Because it's retribution for the fact that Tim Walz ran against, as vice president, ran against Donald Trump.
The benevolent leader got offended.
Right. And Minnesota went for Harris, and he's not going to set foot in Texas or Florida because they're red states. And it's just so obvious. And it just, again, I go back to Zoolander. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, that there are people on the right who can't or won't see this. And they're just like, well, Minneapolis is a problem. It's like, no, it's not.
That's the part that always has really frustrated me as this has started up, is that when it first happened in the house, I'm like, what the Minneapolis? Like nothing happens in Minneapolis. Tim Walz was the biggest thing to come from there in God knows how long.
And Minneapolis is known for people for being like overly ridiculously nice and friendly. Well, it's just like when they were,
they're harboring all the worst immigrant criminals.
Well, it's just like the whole police action with the Marines, where he's going to, clean up DC, and he's going to clean up Portland. He's going to clean up LA. And it's like, I'm sorry. What was it like 8 of the top 10 worst violent places in the United States were in red states? Like the worst is Mike Johnson's district. Did we send people to Mississippi? And I don't know how anybody can look at that and go, well, it's a big coincidence. It's like, no, he is.
When they ramped up the game,
retribution is what he said.
They ramped up the game and said to Minneapolis, you give us all the criminals, all the records, everything we want, and we'll stop bothering.
Well, no, they also said, you got to give us your voter rolls.
Yes, that was the next time. So to me, that it's like, if you don't see this happening as an issue, I would really question what you know about history. But part of our freedom should be that things are done with due process. They're not forced. You don't go attack a city because of a criminal, because if that were the case, boy, there'd be a lot of cities leveled right now. And you can't ask for things like voter rolls as a leader of a country in our country. Well, okay. As a leader of the U.S. I know, not the U.S. we have today, you would never
always been the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, when the ballots that were stuck as scrolled out of the Georgia offices this week,
Well, see, that's the thing. Anybody, and you're right. If anybody, you said a student of history, and I agree with you, but if you've ever seen a fucking movie on the mafia, I mean, it's a shakedown. It's all it is. So, I mean.
Well, that's how he's running the country. Like he's a big gangster.
Right. That's what I mean. But begrudgingly, I have to give them credit. They're learning. So I'm going to give you a deal you can't refuse by saying, we'll move out of Minneapolis if you give us the voter rolls. And Tim Walz was like, screw you, I'm not doing that. So then what do? Well, we just come up with a fake search warrant, and we'll just take them out of Georgia, because the man baby that is running our country right now is so upset with an election that happened almost 6 years ago. He cannot let go of the fact that he might have lost at something. And it's insane. And that's the other thing. People are like, well, I've still got friends and acquaintances who were like, well, that was stolen. And I'm like, there were 60 trials. I think 30 lawsuits, like 30 of them. I'm going to be wrong. And somebody's going to put in the comments that it was like, well, 30, 28, but like 30 of them were Trump appointed judges who said, there's no here, there's nothing. So it's been litigated out the wazoo, and Dinesh D'Souza or whatever his name is can put out that was 1,000 Mules or 2,000 Mules or whatever. Dumbest movie on the planet. Sorry, we were talking about documentaries. That it is so laughable that that's their proof. And then of course he was what was he? He was put in jail for or found guilty of something, and Trump pardoned him because he made a documentary that helped Trump believe more that he actually won an election that didn't win. Yeah, it's a shakedown is all it is, and it's continual. And I think I'm glad we started to talk about it because this thing in Georgia is, in my opinion, it's the biggest news of the week, possibly month, and people just aren't. The media brought it out, but they're really not hammering it. So
Well, no, it's the good old bait and switch here, right? We're gonna go do something, but while we're doing this incredibly bad thing over here, we're gonna wave a big flag over here. So you go, oh, squirrel, and go look at it.
right,
And that's what was going on. So we've got to, that is happening at the same time, proclaiming there's going to be a race in downtown DC, and they're going to bring, Formula cars or Indy cars there and have this. And the
sure.
AI content was enough to be laughable.
Sure, why not?
Um,
Let's move closer and closer to let's mirror the movie Idiocracy. Let's just make it happen. But I mean the thing. So I did some reading about it, and I am not a lawyer. I don't, all I know is what I read. And what I was reading, they were saying that in order to get a search warrant, it really is pretty easy. They're saying that no, for example, if I'm a lawyer and I or police and I go to the judge for a search warrant and I say I believe that Jim is growing weed, or well, weed's legal now. I believe Jim is doing naughty things in his house. Okay, what I did not realize this, but at that point the judge can't say no, not that part. No, I
Dude,
did not.
if this house is a monastery, man.
Yeah, sorry, there needs to be punctuation. No, I did not realize that at that moment, the judge can't say, well, I want to call Jim in and interview him, or I want to, basically, if they think they have evidence, the judge basically just signs off on the search warrant. It's got to be it's got to obviously, I know somebody's going to comment about this. It's got to be more than I think Jim's doing naughty things. It's got to be more specific, of course. But basically what they're saying is it's not the judge's right to the judge can rule on the legality of it, but they can't say, I want to bring in witnesses or I want you to get more evidence or whatever. They basically just sign it. Pam Bondi couldn't get one of those. No judge would sign off on that. So she just did it on her own, which is I don't know if it's illegal, but it's sure as shit pushing up against the Constitution. Second of all, they went in and took ballots out, which are the property of the state of Georgia. So they basically stole those because they didn't have a proper warrant. And then last but not least, Tulsi Gabbard was there. Well, Tulsi Gabbard's the DNI, which the joke around DC now is do not invite because she's on the outs with Trump. That's completely against the Constitution and it's completely illegal. She is not a legal officer. There's no reason for her to be there. But people believe that she was there because she's trying to get back in, make a photo op almost to get back in Trump's good graces. It's blowing up in their face because it's completely, there's no it was just federal prosecutor, I can't remember who he was. Sorry, I gotta start writing names down. But it said that literally there was zero reason for her to be there. Like you can't even squint and go, well, there's this one statute that says like there's zero reason for her to be there. So they stole ballots, and for what? And I think I know why. You and I talked about it earlier. I think they're setting us up because Trump tends to say things in a flippant, joking manner, ha ha. And then magically, several months down the road, it becomes reality. Mm-hmm. And he has flatly said, I'm doing such a great job. I don't think we need midterm elections.
Yeah. They're definitely going to try to swivel the midterms into a do or do not kind of game. I mean, let's be honest with you. Trump's going to work out there's two ways I see him working. One is he just nullifies the need for elections and says, you don't need to. The other is he's getting so close to potentially being impeached for real that he just flees the country. I mean, with the amount of money Melania pocketed off of Ruby and the amount of money he's pocketed off the American taxpayers, he could actually go into exile. And wouldn't that be fun?
Well, he doesn't have to go into exile. There's a couple of scenarios here. First of all, I think what's happening, and I think Minneapolis and LA and Portland, I think they're all trial runs. I think what's going to happen is if we do have a midterm election and it doesn't look like it's going his way, they're going to march in and take the voting machines. And they're going to say they have credible evidence that, the election is being stolen and whatever, and either manipulate the ballots or just say, well, the election was, invalid. So we're just going to go ahead for the next 2 years and do our thing. The other thing is if that somehow backfires and then we really do have an election, and I can't believe in 2026 in the United States of America, you and I are literally honestly concerned there might not be an election. And I mean, and people on the right can say we're clutching pearls and all that. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's a very real possibility. The other thing is Trump doesn't have to do that. So remember, and I know you know this, and for those who are listening, remember, so let's say the Democrats sweep in November. Let's say they get 60% in each house, which is in each branch, which is a supermajority, meaning no veto matter. The Democrats can do whatever they want. Those Democrats don't take power until January. So between November and January, which is a lifetime.
Dumb shit can happen.
Well, a lot of shit can, but I think if Trump really was like, oh shit, I've lost the House and the Senate, I'm going to get impeached and removed. All he's got to do is there's Supreme Court has said they're not sure whether a president can pardon themselves or not. And it is ambiguous. It does not specifically say that in the Constitution. It shouldn't have to, but it probably should. Either that or J.D. Vance pardons him and he rides off in the sunset. I mean, he's 80 years old. What are they going to do? I mean, first of all, if they pardon him for crimes, the Supreme Court's already said he can't be brought up on charges for things he did as an official act, which is so nebulous. And so you call anything an official act as president. Yeah. All JD Vance has got to do is pardon him. He takes his $1.5 billion he's made in the last, 12 months and stay right where he is. You go to Mar-a-Lago and, write a book, ghost write a book and sit and bitch for the rest of the
rally, continue to go try to talk to people in his blabbering, wondering ways. And
right. Or, Fox News will have him on as a contributor and he can whine and cry about how he was, he was such a great president and the Democrats were out to get him. And I mean, I would love to see that happen, to be honest. I mean, I'm at the point where I have always wanted to see him in an orange jumpsuit so that would match his complexion. But at this point, just gone would be enough for me. Just
I think
mouth is just his mouth. It doesn't.
Marjorie Taylor did say one thing really good this week, which was even if he's gone and Vance is gone, things don't change. You got to fight for the change too. You got to get people in that are willing to tear things down because we built this platform, we built this process to undo what's been done. Is going to take time and it's going to take will. And the Republican Party may have walked a little bit back from Trump. Some of the MAGA supporters have walked away. Some of them are starting to preach a little bit of their own thing. But when you look at those coming up, who want to be the next benevolent leader, Ted Cruz is going to keep things going the way they are. He's not going to change it. The only change you're going to get is if you really get a new progressive leader in who says, yeah, this has been a Groundhog Day, folks. Wake up. We're going to start over.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. If we get a Democrat in the White House in 28, it's assuming elections continue to happen. If we get a Democrat in the White House in 28 and we return to some kind of normalcy, and so here's my hope. Donald Trump's gone after November. One way or the other, either he sees the writing on the wall and he's going to be impeached and he resigns and takes a pardon and resigns, or he gets impeached and removed. One or the other.
Or dies. There's really three choices.
What's that?
Or dies. His health is...
Well, right. Any of us can be that. Yes, he's closer to that, hopefully, than we are. And I mean that only because of age and because of his god-awful eating habits. Yeah, J.D. Vance would then take over one way or the other. Everything I read is J.D. Vance is so creepy that even Republicans don't like J.D. Vance.
Well, the guy likes couches.
What's that? Couches.
He likes a good couch.
All right. Have you seen the meme of his wife in an upholstered suit? It's so wrong and it's so classless.
I can tell you, if he was president, I would have second thoughts on sitting on any couch in the office.
Agreed. They don't even like J.D. Vance, but I think the one thing about J.D. Vance that I do like, and bear with me on this, is because I'm
Ooh,
so
it's a
sick
very
of.
tough one.
Yeah, well, I think you'll understand where I'm going with this, because I heard that Trump's a businessman and he's not a politician, and that's what we need. Well, we see how that's fucking worked out. I think JD Vance is a politician, and the one thing about true politicians is that they want to continue to advance. And Donald Trump is a perfect storm. All other politicians have to play games. And that's why I hate politicians and I like politicians. And the reason I like politicians is they're only going to do so much to not get themselves reelected. So it's a natural check and balance. I mean, it's disingenuous and it's bullshit, but at least it holds them in check. Donald Trump's
Yeah.
never cared. He's not a politician. He's just a narcissist. Anyway, JD Vance takes over. The first thing he's got to do, and I think he would, let's say Trump dies, because we all will at some point, or he's impeached, or he leaves. JD Vance would then take over. And I think the first thing he would do is get rid of Stephen Miller, get rid of Kristi Noem, get rid of all of the bad baggage from the Trump. I know there's a shit ton, but the really bad baggage of Trump's administration, and possibly get some people in there, sycophants, I'm sure, but some people in there who at least have some expertise. Not put Kristi Noem, who was a horrible governor, in charge of DHS. But anyway, I think that's what would happen. And I think then if we got a progressive, so what I think is, I think JD Vance would start the Republican Party on the road to rehabilitation. And then I think you would see senators and congressmen really step up, because they're so scared of being primaried by Trump. That's why they're all cowards, but your basic profile and courage. I mean, look, you mentioned Ted Cruz. He called Trump. He even said, Trump's probably going to go after Greenland. That's before Trump was even elected. It was like in 2015. He was making a joke.
2016, sorry. Trump was meeting with the Koreans, Kim Jong-il, right?
Uh-huh.
And I believe that he was at a lunch when it was asked, is the United States still looking to buy property? Because they were talking about the stars on the stripe, right? Stars on the flag. And someone said, something about Greenland, and Trump got the idea, oh, we could buy Greenland, and it was put out as a joke.
Right.
When Trump says something, he's going to find a way to do it, right? So he's been chasing that dream for a long time. So yeah,
exactly.
JD Vance, Ted Cruz got out there. I was like, really, Ted, why do you pick the moments in history to be real public that probably are the wrong choices, right? The man knows how to jump on the wrong bandwagon every time.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Trump talked about he said shit about his wife and that his father assassinated JFK and all of this, and now he's licking his boots. And he.
Well, so was JD, right? JD was a no Trump ever guy.
No, they all are, because they can smell that power, and unfortunately they haven't read Faust or any bad bad TV ever, and realize that when you make a deal with the devil, you always get screwed. And I mean, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She got where she got because she was riding Trump's coattails. The minute she sort of disagreed with him, the death threats started, and he starts calling her Marjorie Taylor Brown or Traitor Brown and all this weird shit. Next thing you know, she's out. So they're all going to end up in a bad place. And I don't mean that. I mean, they're all going to end up either politically dead or in jail. Something's going to happen.
One of the interesting things I heard this week is that there's not the pursuit, at least yet, which would normally happen in a presidential cabinet administration, where they'd be working on their deals for whose news shows they're going to be on, or what they're going to take over, or where they're going to go. They say that this cabinet, this administration doesn't have that happening. That's surprising, because every administration, when it knows this is your last round, because you're going out these 4 years, how did Stephanopoulos get his job? He was all big in the Clinton era, and next thing you know, he's running things at the news, right? So it's just they get their positions, they get them lined up, they know where they're going to land.
Right.
No, well, first of all, maybe nobody wants them. Even Fox News may not want some of them.
Well, it's funny you said that, because, and I can't believe I'm saying this, for the shit show that Trump's first term was, it was nowhere near as bad as this. And we've talked about this. Well, first of all, he put people in power. He put people around him who actually would constrain him with facts and logic, and people who knew what the hell they were doing. That's number one. So you're right. So you've got Kellyanne Conway on Fox. You've got Tommy Lauren or whatever her name is on Fox, and all these people from his first administration. You're right. That's the thing. I think that's why Stephen Miller is going so crazy on this immigration thing and just going scorched earth, because where the hell is he going to go? He's and I'm not saying, he's one of the most repulsive people on the planet to listen to. Who the hell's going to hire him? Fox News is not going to hire Stephen Miller. They're not going to hire Kristi Noem. She's an empty shirt. She's dumb as a post. Listen to her speak. It's horrible. It's like, she blank deer in the headlights and she's just talking. So yeah, who's going to hire these people? Nobody.
Well, no. And I think the thing I worry about is you can take Trump out, you can take a lot of these leaders out. The reality is Project 2025, which is driving a lot of things that are happening, is still going to come together. And what we're not talking about is the current assaults on, right. Well, obviously we have been erasing trans people this entire year, which is just kills me. And there was a trans speaker, and I forgot who it was, spoke at the House about the fact that she's in there and she's like, well, you're erasing my life, my very existence, and I'm here.
Yeah.
You see me, you know me.
Yeah.
Then there's the push to overturn rights, right? So we're gonna get rid of women's rights and we're gonna get rid of gay rights. Now, as a gay man, I'm not overly worried about it, but I also don't understand why it's so important. Neither of those issues impacts anything but white men who have some issues with how power is distributed, and every white male who thinks that every gay man's out to have sex with, which is just such a load.
You're right, but I would like to make a distinction, and you and I have talked before, and I've started to piss people off, but I think we've all ascertained that I really don't care anymore. But I put white people in two categories. There's white people and there's white people. White people are me. White people are me, who I don't give a shit what you do in your bedroom. I don't give a shit if you're walking down the street and you kiss your partner. I don't care if I see a man and a woman. I don't want to see you making out. I don't want to see a man and woman making out in public.
No, I don't want to see anything by anybody. That's great. But if you start, mopping on each other,
that's what I'm saying. But you being gay, you being trans, you being atheist, you being Christian, you being whatever the fuck you are, has no bearing on me whatsoever. And that's where white people drive me crazy, because Jim's met me. I mean, you guys see me on screen. I'm, 6'2", 245 pounds. I'm a fairly large dude. Up until yesterday, I had a very long beard, if you guys seen it, and I was bald. And now my wife, the only thing she wanted for Christmas was me to grow my hair back. So here we are. But if you were to approach me on the street, 99 people out of 100 would immediately assume I'm MAGA. I'm big with a beard and the whole thing, and and I'm not. So it's just like when I was growing up and dating and all that kind of stuff. And there would be that one guy who was an asshole to women, and all of the nice guys would want to take him out back and beat shit out of him, because every woman that approached us would paint us with that brush. And that's unfair, but it's human. It's human nature.
Well, I mean, Chuck, it's the same thing. It's the same thing in the gay community that way too, right? Everybody paints the gay brush with the worst things they've seen, right? But that's one of the things I struggle with is that the current fodder over the father's son, PayPal, OnlyFans, clubs and things, and the stuff you see on YouTube and Facebook. That's not what gay is about, right?
No. And that's what I understand. There's a whole swath of white people. And I ask them when I talk to them, I'm like, the fuck do you care if two gay men or two gay women marry each other? How does that affect your life at all? And I go, well, it's in the Bible. I'm like, it's in the Bible. A whole bunch of stuff in the Bible you're not following too. I mean, seriously. I'm not trying to be funny, and I don't want to I'm trying to be funny, and I don't want to bash religion or anything like that. But no, if you look, like if you wear, I can't remember where it is because I'm not a Bible scholar, but if you wear two different, it says in the Bible, if you wear two different fabrics, you should be stoned to death. Or if you're you're supposed to stone your brother if he doesn't observe the Sabbath properly or whatever. It's a lot of stuff that people
not get stoned with your brother, by.
Yeah, no, stone, rock, head kind of thing. Yeah, no, but there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that's not being followed nowadays because it doesn't make sense for the modern world we live in.
Right.
So why?
Because remember, those were all stories for the time, right? I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying.
They helped communities move forward then,
right?
Who didn't have social media and all this other stuff.
Right, but I'm saying if we literally had a law that said if you wore two different fabrics, you put to death. Yep. That doesn't make sense nowadays. And also, that was also an allegory of not mixing. Anyway, the bottom line is there's a lot of things in the Bible that aren't followed today because they don't make sense for the modern world. What we know about science, what we know about people, what we know about sociology, all these things. I don't get why anybody gives a shit if you're gay and want to marry a man, or a woman wants to marry a woman, or if you want to practice a certain religion, or if you were, and I've talked about this before. I had a student who opened my I never cared about the whole trans debate. And what I mean by that is when I say I don't mean care, I don't mean that to be callous. I mean, it didn't affect me. If it doesn't affect me, do you? You're not hurting anyone else. And do you? I don't care what it is. I mean, I didn't have an opinion on it, but I had a student, and I'll fight anybody tooth and nail, not literally, but figuratively. He was a little girl born in a boy's body. Like, I'm telling you, at what was he, 8 years old, it was so obvious to everybody. And it wasn't obvious to him, and he was having behavioral problems. And as soon as his parents were okay with him painting his fingernails, wearing a dress, behaviors went away because he truly was in the wrong body. And I believe that with all my heart. I saw it day in and day out. So that it woke me up in that now it was, again, I didn't have any problem with it, but now it's human to me, and I'm seeing it. And I'm thinking, I've talked to gay friends, and they've told me the heartbreaking stories of coming out. Because still in 2026, even more so, unfortunately, in 2026, there's a social stigma about it. And it broke my heart to think, why would anybody else not be who they really are? That's what blows my mind. And again, who the fuck cares if a man transitions into a woman? I mean, first of all, there's this, it always makes me laugh. It's just like with gay men. It's like, I don't want a gay guy coming on to me. It's like, oh yeah, you're so gorgeous. They're absolutely going to be like all gay men are going to find you attractive and want to have sex with you. Like how vain are you? How ridiculous are you?
Just, I think you're a really good looking guy, but I have no desire to get into it.
Kind of hurts my feelings, Jim, but okay.
I mean, hey, I love you like a brother should love a brother, not like brothers, not brothers.
I get that, but and I love you to death. You're one of my absolute best friends, and I could care less. I mean, I want you. I guess that's the difference between white people and white people. White people want everybody to be happy. Just be happy being, again, as long as you're anybody, who the fuck cares? But
if everyone would adopt the philosophy of you do you, I don't need to do you, you don't need to be me. That did come across really horribly. The message is be who you want to be, but I don't have to know everything about being who you are. But I respect you being you.
Absolutely. When I say partner, I mean heterosexual, homosexual, care less. If you and your partner like want to hang off the drapes and do crazy ass shit and animal calls and everything else in your room, I don't care. I don't want to see it, but I don't care. And I don't understand anybody who does. I don't understand anyone who is putting this much energy into wanting to keep people from doing what makes them happy. Because
I haven't met a good Christian yet who isn't pushing that agenda.
I know.
It's sad.
Thank you for saying agenda, because I love it. Because I'm like, I had a friend who's like, well, the gay agenda. I'm like, and Christians don't have an agenda? Let's face it. No, everybody has an agenda. Everybody wants the world to think the way they think. Now, we do it in different ways. We do it with debate. We do it with marching troops into cities. But the bottom line is all of us want the world to, on some level, to conform to the way we think. It makes us comfortable. And yeah, I mean, gay people have an agenda. They want equal rights.
I think like anything, in any movement, in any change where you're trying to bring a new norm on, people will take it too far. Civil rights, people take things far. Gay rights, people take things far. When every TV show has to beat you over the head with whatever the message is, it does get exhausting. Even for me, when I'm saying, those will benefit me, I get to the point where I'm like, if I just see another gay character in a show, I'm probably going to just stop watching television. I just don't need it. I don't need crazy ass gay people showing up in shows. Right. It used to be historically, every gay guy or woman, whoever showed up in a series was a villain, was going to die, and was never going to be seen again. Right? That was kind of your formula. Now we get these characters and they got to have like a message and fight for right to do this. And, they're potentially transitioning and all that. I mean, it's just like, good God, you have to really beat everybody over the head. I get the woke thing bothering people because of that, because everything suddenly had to have that.
I don't get why the woke thing bothers people. That's
got in your face. It got too much in your face. I mean, I was watching a thing yesterday about Dr. Who.
Okay, wait. Well, okay, yeah, you're talking about TV, and that's fine. But TV's easy because I can change the channel.
Yeah, but when every channel's got something like that going on.
No, I get. But what I'm saying, but the whole woke thing. I mean, the whole woke issue was putting yourself in other people's places so that you could
turned into something
better and understand their way of life better. But people were like, I don't want trans people around me.
Right. That's what woke became, was about certain groups, specialty groups that were not going to get
Well,
rights.
and it was funny because I was having not funny, but I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was talking about the who uses what bathroom and all that shit. And the easiest way to fix that is single use bathrooms, but whatever. Like every new building should just have single use bathrooms, and then there's literally no conversation involved with this. And I'll be honest with you, I have no hangups, but I don't really like being in a bathroom with like 15 guys side by side pissing in a urinal either. It's like I'd really like to have a little bit more privacy. I mean, I do it because that's the way society is. But given my druthers, oh, I'll take a single use bathroom anytime.
The biggest shock I ever had was I was in Rio and I was at a nightclub, and the nightclub had one huge bathroom, one side all urinals, the other side all toilets, and the women just going in. I'm like, guys at urinals are sometimes exhibitionists.
Yes.
Right? So these women are walking in. I'm like, these guys are just showing everything. Like, well, I guess it doesn't matter, right? It's sort of like everybody just comes into one room and no one seems to be bothered by it.
Yeah. But yeah, but the whole thing, and I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, the trans, and I'm like, all right, let me ask you a question. Just you and me having a conversation. What do you think? And I don't know the answer, but what do you think the percentage of trans people are in the United States? No, I'm saying, I'm talking to this person, and I said, well, let's agree there's 330 million people. Let's just call it that. I don't know. What percentage do you think? And he goes, oh, I don't know, probably 10%. Like, okay, hold on a minute. You're saying you believe there are 33 million people in the United States who are trans. That's 1 in 3. No, 1 in 10. So you're telling me for every 10 people, one of them's trans. No, that can't be right. So we started talking about it. And what we ended up with is 0.1%. We believe there's probably 30,000 trans people in the country. I said, okay.
Visible and out, so to speak.
Right. And I said, I don't know if that's true or not. I said, but if there's 30,000 trans people out of 330 million, it is very possible, depending on where you live. Now, if you live in New York City or LA or something like that, no. But it is very possible if you live in a country like I do, you'll never, ever run into a trans person.
The funny thing is, though, Chuck, you probably have. And most of them have become so good at blaming.
I was talking to a person who was not the most aware person. And I said, so now take that. What are the chances that you and and his whole point is, if I take my little daughter into that, okay, what are the chances living here that you'll A, ever see a trans person, and B, be in the same bathroom with them at the same time? And once I got there, he was just like, but it's just weird. Okay, fine. I'll take weird. Like, no. I mean, if it makes you feel weird, fine. That's a real honest to God emotion. It's a little narrow-minded and twisted, but that's a real honest emotion. I can work with that, but I don't want them in the bathroom with my daughter and all like it. That's just it's distraction is what it is. I think what it is we've been fed all of this, and the right has been fed all of this so that they turn a blind eye or they're worn out about the rampant corruption that we're seeing from the Trump administration.
Well, yeah, I mean, so if almost every press conference Trump does, he brings up trans for everyone. I don't know what that statement means when he says it, trans for everyone. But it comes down to he feels like everybody has the right to get transition surgery or whatever, right? And it was happening in the prisons and all this stuff, and the government's paying for it. It's that kind of stuff coming from the top down that fuels these challenges, right? So, the president says we can't have it.
Oh my God, yes.
And so if you don't check yourself and think about what you're hearing versus what you think versus what you know, I think you'll get a little educated. You're going to find yourself on the wrong side of these issues. I would argue that there's more to fear from a white Christian nation, which is what's really rising here, than there is from someone trans, someone gay, someone black, someone Hispanic, some criminal who somehow got here on some illegal visa, actually showing up in your life and causing a problem. There's less chance of that happening than a white Christian fundamentalist knocking on your door and saying, repent or die.
Look at most of the violence we see is from white Christian nationalists. I mean, I think I told this story, and I'll make it quick, but a buddy of mine who's a right-wing nut job, never met a conspiracy theory he doesn't love. And I love him with all my heart. He's a great human being. He's just, when it comes to those things, he has totally bought into the QAnon type world nonsense. And in 2020, he went to work, and on inauguration day, he wasn't there. And I'm like, where is he? And they're like, he took inauguration day off because he was worried about what might happen. Like, okay. Sorry, 2024. I apologize. 2024. So the next day he came in and I was messing with him, and I'm like, what the fuck did you take off yesterday? He goes, well, I was worried about violence and everything else. And I'm like, dude, we're liberals. We don't storm buildings. When's the last time you saw trans people in mass storming a fucking building, or when
Oh my God, I would live for that moment.
or gay people wielding guns and going. It just
Yeah, we're gonna come up to you, throw a rainbow down, do your hair, sparkle some glitter at you,
well,
and
and
move on.
I'm not saying it can't happen. There's always loose cannons in any group of people. There's always people who are mentally not right. But I'm saying in
Who are
general,
the gunmen then that have been recently shooting people?
thank you. That's what I'm saying. They're all in military garb. I mean, and they're running around the streets of Minneapolis. Let's be honest. That's what
Yeah, I think you're seeing ICE is just the mob that tried to storm the Capitol.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, I'm just
That's
gonna
what I
say it.
mean. Yeah, they're sanctioned by the government, but they're all wannabe thugs. They are. There's no other way around it. No police
They're
force.
patriots, Chuck. Aren't they
Yeah, whatever.
patriots?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, patriot for me has become a buzzword for white Christian nationalists who believe the country's going to hell and they have the answer. I think I told you this once before. So I'm a big Charles Bukowski fan. He's a writer. He's dead. He was big in the 40s and 50s and probably the most gritty American writer of all time. And I'm going to booger this. Unfortunately, I have the sticker on my car. But basically what he said is the problem in the world is that smart people worry whether they're right or wrong, and stupid people are sure that they're right. And right now, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a small group that are 100% sure they know what's best for everybody, and they're armed, and they're angry, and they're not even sure what they're angry. They're angry because Donald Trump and Fox News have told them to be angry. And yeah, they push these little issues that get to the heart of it. I'm a good Christian. You shouldn't be gay. You shouldn't be trans. You shouldn't be this. You shouldn't be that. You should be white. You should be white, and you should be Christian. And we don't want black people and brown people here. And that's their whole shtick. And unfortunately, they're armed and angry, and they're being goaded on by the president of the United States.
So, Chuck, if you had to answer this question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?
I don't know how anybody could say they are.
But
And I
people
mean, even the hardcores can't even say they are. They'll quietly grumble about the economy. They'll still blame Biden or something like that. But no, the economy sucks. Prices are up.
jobs are scarce.
Jobs are scarce. This last year, we actually created fewer new jobs than
And the economy shrank.
I think it was like in the last 20 years. Tariffs are killing us. The business I'm in, tariffs are making things really hard.
Donald Trump's number crunching business can take and turn those into stats that show the opposite of everything happening.
Of course they can. Of course they can.
Which is one thing, that I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. I always love to pound my numbers together and tell them what they see, I can read them pretty well when I see a good set of numbers. I can predict things. It's just the way it is. Or if you know numbers, you can see what the course is. You're going to have a deviation, a few percent here and there. We can't be deviating so far from what he sees that there's a reality, right? The spread has become too big. So, I think that, and wrap it up a little bit for this week, it's been a hodgepodge of more quiet things. Right? We haven't had the craziness of shootings in the streets this week. Thank God somebody realized that. Probably somebody should pull back on. Thank you, Christina, if you've ever done anything, who will probably be out of a job, as I understand it soon. And we've seen a lot less noise, but that doesn't mean it's over. I mean, this is, if anything, Trump loves that spotlight. The news on the horizon he's been talking about there is push for rights eradication is coming up a few weeks. They are going to work hard on that through SCOTUS, and it's not going to be an easy time. And I would say, I have a lot of friends who are scared, and I understand. Because, I made a prediction when all this started going on that to my neighbors, it ain't going to matter until you see someone in your street dragged out of their home and shot. Well, effectively, we all saw that last week. We saw someone in our street being, the television, shot in cold blood. That's 2 now. It ain't stopping. They're planning to come to other states. They're heading to Texas. We're going to build a big 500-bed concentration camp. What is it called? An immigration facility. Yes.
You had it right the first time.
Yeah, I know. If you're listening to us and you're thinking, what are the guys talking about? Look outside. It's coming. More's coming. It ain't going to get easier. And I'm not a doom and gloom. I want to believe there is a hint of something better on the horizon, because I do think if the American dream is true, it will find its way through. But we got a lot more to go through. We didn't drain the swamp. We filled it to capacity right now. And it's just going to be a long time coming. And I'm seeing it in local government. I hate to say it. This week was a tough week for me, as I was told by my city council member that they had found a new person to work on my passion, which is working with the homelessness issues. And I have been on the homeless commission here in Dallas for 3-4 years now. My new council person never spoke to me, never asked what I had done, never, and effectively has been putting, as I'm going to call them, cronies. If he hears it, I care less.
Mhm.
Putting his cronies into positions. I watched the filling of every position within my district. I'm like, I don't see anything like me there anymore at all. And they're all people he knows. And we're throwing religious celebrations and stuff now as his sponsorship. And like, so I got an email. The most cowardly way you can let someone out of a role is to send them an email. Well, I fought back. I shot back at him and said, I expect more. He shot back with the message, I don't owe you anything. I don't need to tell you anything. I'm like, yeah, but you do need to owe your citizens that. It was a tough week because it was a bit of a bombshell on me because I thought I've done a lot of good work from what I was doing. But it's happening on local government too. Don't be afraid to think about it. Your local government is starting the problems too.
Well, and I'll make this brief. We'll probably explore it more next week because we are getting really long.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I think is apolitical, the one topic that I don't give a damn how you see yourself is when it's factual, and I know that's loaded right now, but is money in your pocket, the economy. I don't give a damn so listen up, folks. I don't care where you sit politically. We all are concerned about taxes and prices and how much money it takes to feed our families. We're all concerned about that. So I read two things that chilled me to the bone this week. Number one, Trump quietly signed some executive orders, and to end may go belly up in July because they're running out of money because the U.S. funds about 22% of the UN's budget. And I know there are people who say, it's too much. Maybe so. But the UN is a very, very important thing, and it will go belly up because the U.S. has stopped funding important things like for children and health and everything else.
Like WHO and everything else. We're cutting
Right.
money
So
out of all these organizations.
right. So that's number. Second thing, if you just stop and listen for a minute, Trump's whole tariff thing and taking Greenland and all this bullshit he's doing is to keep China and other countries from lapping us. Well, what he has done is pissed off so many other countries. Most people don't realize this. The EU has about the same size economy as we do now. We have alienated the EU. They are making deals with China. They're making deals with Russia. They're making deals with everybody. He has literally, with this stupid tariff shit, made China stronger.
And by the way, you can't travel to Europe without a visa anymore. All countries now said American visa-free touring is over.
Right. But his whole shtick was we're not going to let China take over. He's made them stronger. He has literally made them stronger. China is not sitting on their hands going, oh, what are we going to do about the U.S.? They're making deals with everybody. And what he's actually done is pushed us completely out of the conversation in worldwide economics. And they're saying, buckle up, because not only is it going to hurt America a lot, it may never bounce back. Because, was it fool me once? What George Bush said, you ain't get fooled again. No, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. If I'm the EU, even if we get a great progressive president in there who wants to mend fences, if I'm the EU, I'm going to be like, okay, fine. But 4 years from now, what if we get some other idiot?
Yeah, proceed with caution is going to be everything.
Well, I mean, the way the U.S. system of government is,
Well, so if we're on Greenland for a second, we've had the right to go into Greenland. We've had bases. We've been dealing with Greenland on a friendly way. We didn't need to alienate Denmark in that process, right? We didn't need to get them sending troops to that country to protect it. So it's been so stupid to watch because there was no reason for us. We actually made Greenland more of a risk than it was before we.
Well, yeah, there are videos going around of people in Greenland saying, thank you so much because you've actually made our relationship with Denmark even stronger. Because before they were, not separatists, but they were, doing the whole thing. Anyway.
So does this lead to the separation of the unions? There are definitely always talks about, well, who starts seceding? I think that's a good topic for another week.
Yes, it is. And on that note, and now, here's your happy ending.
Happy ending.
Our happy ending today is, I found this article and I thought it was the cutest damn thing on the planet. So during a 112-day peace walk in India, a group of Buddhist monks found an abandoned dog, which they gave him the name Aloka. I hope that's right. It's Aloka. I'm going to assume it's Aloka. Aloka was hit by a car. He fell ill for an extended period of time. They loaded him in a truck and offered him escape from walking. He jumped out and would not stop. They said he followed us the whole time. He's a true hero. He wanted to walk. That inspires a lot. Now, Aloka and the monks have a new mission. In October 18th, they started out of Texas. That's where their temple, that's probably not the right word, but bear with me, Buddhists, I apologize. And they set off from Fort Worth on a 2,300-mile to Washington, D.C. with a goal of promoting unity and compassion. The journey is expected to cover 10 states in 110 days before ending in the nation's capital. A live tracker on Facebook provides updates on their progress, and the group has also been posting frequently to social media. Don't worry, Aloko the Peace Dog has his own Instagram account as well, and I have been following him. And it is cute as shit. They put little coats on him when it gets cold, and this dog is just walking with them, and people are feeding them. There was a local Dairy Queen. The guy gave all the monks ice cream and made sure Aloka had a pup cup. I mean, it's just really, really sweet.
It has been an amazing story to watch. The whole monk thing has been one of those nuggets that you watch and you go,
yes,
yeah, there's happiness. There's still good things happening.
Right.
So
but I mean,
great, happy ending.
Thank you. Well, no matter how you feel about the monks or anything else, the dog story is just damn cool. I admit, I honest to God am following Aloka on Instagram, and it's just sweet with all the shit that's going on in the world. Watching this happy dog just trot along with these monks is just absolutely gorgeous.
Well, listen, everybody, this has been another real interesting episode. We hope you're enjoying our format change. We've been playing with a bunch of stuff in terms of our visuals, our branding. We're trying to figure out what works. So if you see some different title cards sometimes, we'd love your feedback. We have a community on Facebook that you can request to join. We have, obviously, you can leave comments. We enjoy seeing comments. No matter how harsh they may be, we will work through them with you. We want to talk to you. We want your feedback.
Yes.
We want to have a conversation. This is not about just our opinions. Help us understand something differently if you have a different perspective. That's a key point here is Chuck and I don't think we have all the answers. We're sharing our view. That's going to always be the way we look at it. And
except quit making fun of my glasses.
Did somebody make fun of your glasses?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody did not like my glasses.
So we saw great traction in episode 1. Obviously, we took a little bit of a curve with my sister and took an episode to bring some Zen down to us. That still resonates if folks liked it, but let us know what you think. Are you liking our new format? Are you liking what we're doing? Is this something that grabbed your attention? Do you want us to lean in more? Are we missing a point or missing somebody? Hit us up. We want to hear from you. We really want engagement. This is always better when we know what you're thinking. So with that, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for being part of our community. And for those of you who make it right now to the very end, we appreciate you the most because you actually sat through the entire thing and listened to us.
Thank you, folks. We do appreciate it. We'll see you next week.